Un Copter Coverups for November 7th. At 11:30 a.m. I was standing in the bed of the truck on the driveway, and a flimsy small helicopter approached from behind my house, and he was probably at 120 feet of altitude. And so it had white legs, and as it approached, it seemed to have a dark front, possibly even a black front, and it came decently quick. Like, I wasn't prepared for it because my brother turned his truck on and it sounds like a wakeboard boat. You can't hear anything, and so that's conveniently when it approached. And so it was tail waving across my roof, and that originated with the police helicopter saying, "This is the cover-up of all cover-ups, I've done it." And that was the same event when I ran back to my house and deleted a couple of apps and recorded him following me back, harassing me. And so this helicopter from underneath, it had it was a kind of like a dark body because the legs were white, noticeable difference, and then the tail had a diagonal from front to back, and then the back part was blue and the front was white. So this was purposefully set up to be a confusing helicopter, and so that's because they've been mixing parts so that they can take certain copters and I'll identify it in a certain way, and then they take that video and then put the date in the past and fabricate it. Example of that is the military helicopter that they flew by with the wheels in the copter pocket to do the military copter turn, and also when they flew it parallel to the double Black Hawk threat, but farther out closer to Solero Oliveira intersection. And they delete the wheels, fabricate the evidence, and change the date. So because of those colors, and then it seemed to be black on the way in, it was very conflicting, but it seemed to be the model of the small flimsy model. And then it was doing a tail wave, so supposedly it's a civilian and it's doing a tail wave across my house. So those are some of the things I don't understand, how all of the aircrafts combine events from a certain kind of aircraft. So then it continued out towards Geronimo Cordillera intersection, and it did descent drops on a count, and then it changed the count. But either way, no one flies like that. And that all started with a different aircraft. And so immediately after, more or less at 11:39 p.m., the blue flimsy helicopter came left to right in the helicopter pocket, and it stalled. It basically hovered over 24191. And these are some of the things I'm talking about, that not everybody thinks like them, so they stalled it there to be extremely conspicuous so that I would identify it and say, "Look, it's the blue flimsy helicopter," and then they can say, "Yes, that's the one that flew over at 11:30 as well, because look, they're in such a close location and it looks like he's flying back." But if that was the truth and I tried to say that, it would be denied instantly. But when they say it and it looks like so stupid, like a 4-year-old set it up and you fly it there for me to look at, like, why wouldn't they just fly it by? I would still identify it, and then it wouldn't be so noticeable that they're trying to make it conspicuous so that I would notice, so that they could take the other one, fabricate the evidence, and change the dates. So it just hovered there, and then it did the military copter turn and then left towards Geronimo Alicia intersection. And it wasn't the same helicopter in any way at all, with beyond certainty. So it's pretty upsetting when I can identify something 1,000 times and keep saying that's what it is, and then it's just denied, and then they send something else out and it's like this, and then they try to do it and they do it like a 4-year-old would. So I've shown the line from where that helicopter flew, and they're just going to fabricate the evidence. And so the UN cover-up copter, the blue flimsy, was also tuned a little bit military-like, and so that's because of the event. I think it was on the 4th when the military copter with wheels flew by right to left and did the turn behind 24191, and then they flew the police copter by and then the UN copter by, and then they flew them both back to be like, look, it was just these guys. And so now they're committed to having the blue flimsy one tuned like a military copter to say that's all it ever was. So it means they more than tripled down on fabricating the evidence of that military helicopter, and it's mind-blowing. So they're going to do the same with this one because it was purposefully set up to do that, and it was timed when the truck was on, and then they sent that one by after to be like, look, it was just this. So I don't know. I can't account for the feature films that they're creating. And so this is another example of purposeful fabricated evidence.